Hi there, it's Mark, the Old Guy Gardener. We're going to take a quick tour of the garden today. Today's August 16th. First thing in the morning, I got a little sun on my face, so unfortunately that means you got a good view of me. But we'll take a look at this stuff and see what's going on. Right here we've got a summer squash plant called a patty pan, which is a flying saucer shaped deal about this big, and it's yellow. They're really great. I grow those instead of zucchini. Over here we have some cucumbers, which we're training up the trellis to keep the cucumbers off the ground, and they're coming along pretty well. And these two rows here, these two beds are, this is 6 tomato plants, and you can see some of the tomatoes, a lot of green ones, but we've got quite a few red ones inside already, and they're coming pretty much every day. They're just starting to come in. Over here we have potatoes. These are one bed of Yukon Golds, and these will be ready to harvest in probably another 3 or 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks. I let them dry down and the tops die off, and then we dig those and put them in storage. And over here we have the onions. These are storage onions, and they're, as you can see, a lot of them are tops down now, that meaning the top falls down. It's a natural process in the growth, and once they get to about this stage, I'll be out later today or tomorrow and knock the rest of the tops down, and we're going to let them sit there for about a week, 10 days. I cut the water off when I saw the tops first going down, so these haven't been watered in about a week, and they'll go almost 2 without water. You want real good dry conditions when you harvest those onions, because they'll cure and store much longer that way. Coming over here to this bed, I've got a short area here where I've got 3 rows of onion seeds planted, and those are 2 short rows of overwinter Walla Walla sweets. We'll harvest those in May, maybe early June. We'll see how it goes. They'll come up and be about maybe this high before it gets to be winter, and they stop growth, but they'll just hold until next spring, and then we'll fertilize them early in the year, February, March, and when the bulbs start coming up, and we'll be hopefully having some nice big Walla Walla sweets to make onion rings. These are pole beans. We've got 2 different kinds of pole beans here, purple ones and green ones, and they're a little bit different on their timing, so we get a long harvest of those. We'll be eating those until they get frozen out later in the fall. Moving up this way, this is the starts of the Brussels sprout plants. I've got, 10 Brussels sprouts down here, and they'll eventually be about this high, and we'll start eating Brussels sprouts probably in early November and eat Brussels sprouts all the way through March. And they go great in the winter, and they're really good after they've had a bunch of frosts on them. So over here we've got 6 starter heads of lettuce, which I started indoors in seeds, and then we've got some beets, the dead sugar snap peas on the ends there from the sugar snap pea season back in the spring. Normally I like to replant those about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it's been a busy year and I haven't got to it, because you can get a fall crop of those. This end of the garden is my new extension on the garden, and it's still pretty rough. There's irrigation ditches exposed and so forth, but we're working on it. This is the squash patch of winter squash, and there are 3 squash plants in there. 1 delicata, 1 acorn, and 1 kabocha squash. And we'll harvest those mid to late September, maybe early October, depends on the weather. And that'll be great winter squash stuff. I had some brassicas. These are mostly broccoli here beside that ladder. And you can see the broccoli. It's pretty well gone shot now with this heat. But we got some good broccoli and cauliflower out of that earlier. And then back here to the corn patch. We have two kinds of corn this year. Actually, this is my first year out in this new section growing corn because I haven't had the space before. And this is a later corn. It's Golden Jubilee, and it will be ready to harvest in about 3-ish weeks, 2-3 weeks. And pretty large plants, as you can see. And then over here, this section is an earlier one. I think it's called Sugar Buns, and they're really getting close. When we zoom in on these, we can see some pretty good size corn stalks or ears growing on those. So these will be ready in just a few days, and a lot of them anyway. So that's it. Over on this side, the big mess is where we still haven't gotten everything developed. I have 4 fruit trees down there, which the goal for those is I'm going to keep them cut down to eventually about a 6-foot height and about a 5-6 foot diameter, and that'll still provide tons of apples. We've got 3 apple trees and a plum tree down there, and these white risers are the underground irrigation system that I have some different options. I'm going to be putting some raised beds in on this side and one of those for each raised bed, and then use those over there. They'll be cut down a little bit shorter for soaker hoses and different watering for whatever else I throw over in that section. And that's about it for today. Hope your garden's going good, and we'll check with you next time. Take care.